Hi everyone, this is section 3, lesson 6, the Bible reading. We're doing Exodus 17 through 20 and Psalm 18. Exodus 17. Then all the congregation of the children of Israel moved on from the wilderness of Sin by stages according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water, so we may have something to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you tempt the Lord and try his patience?" But the people were thirsty for water, and the people murmured against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us up from Egypt to kill us, or our children, or our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried out to the Lord for help, saying, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pass before the people and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff in which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb. There you shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, so that the people may have something to drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. He named the place where this miracle occurred Massah, test, and Meribah, contention, because of the quarreling of the sons of Israel, and because they tested the patience of the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Amalek fought. Then Amalek and his people came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, "Choose men for us and go out, fight against Amalek and his people. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands." So Joshua did as Moses said, and fought with Amalek. And Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the hilltop. Now when Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and when he lowered his hand due to fatigue, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and he grew tired, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Then Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other side, so it was that his hands were steady until the sun set. So Joshua overthrew and defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this in the book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, that I will utterly wipe out the memory of Amalek and his people from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and named it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "The Lord has sworn an oath, the Lord will have war against the people of Amalek for generation to generation." Genesis 18. Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard all that God had done for Moses and for Israel his people, and that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Moses' wife Zipporah after he had sent her away from Egypt, along with her 2 sons, of whom one was named Gershom, stranger, for Moses had said, "I have been a stranger in a foreign land." The other son was named Eleazar, "My God is help," for Moses said, "The God of my father was my help, and he rescued me from the sword of Pharaoh." Then Jethro, his father-in-law, came with Moses' son and his wife to join Moses in the wilderness, where he camped at the mountain of God, that is, Mount Sinai in Horeb. He sent a message to Moses, "I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons, who are with her." So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and he bowed down in respect and kissed him. They asked each other about their well-being and went into the tent. Moses told his father-in-law about all the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and about all the hardship that had happened during the journey, and how the Lord had rescued them. Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord had done to Israel, and that he had rescued them from the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro said, "Blessed be the Lord, who has rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of Pharaoh, and who has rescued the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods. Indeed, it was proven when they acted insolently towards Israel, and the Lord showed himself infinitely superior to all their gods." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and other sacrifices to offer to God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law before God. Now the next day Moses sat to judge the disputes the people had with one another, and the people stood around Moses from dawn to dusk. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why are you sitting alone as a judge with all the people standing around you from dawn till dusk?" Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to ask about the will of God. When they have a dispute, they come to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and I make known the statutes of God and his laws." Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you are doing is not good. You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy for you to bear. You cannot do it alone. Now listen to me, I will advise you, and may God be with you to confirm my advice. You shall represent the people before God. You shall bring their disputes and causes to him. You shall teach them the decrees and laws. You shall show them the way they are to live and the work they are to do. Furthermore, you shall select from all of the people competent men who reverently fear God, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain. You shall place these over the people as leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. They shall judge the people at all times. Have them bring every major dispute to you, but let them judge every minor dispute themselves, so it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you will do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure the responsibility, and all these people will also go back to their tents in peace. So Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything that he had said. Moses chose able men from all Israel and made them heads over the people, leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens, from the highest to the lowest judicial levels. And they judged the people at all times. They would bring the difficult cases to Moses, but every minor dispute they judged and decided themselves. Then Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law, and Jethro went back to his own land, Midian. Exodus 19. In the 3rd month after the children of Israel had left the land of Egypt, the very same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. When they moved out from Rephidim, they came into the wilderness of Sinai, and they camped there. Israel camped at the base of the mountain of Sinai. Moses went up to God on the mountain, and the Lord called to him from the mountain, saying, Say this to the house of Jacob and tell the Israelites, You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will in fact obey my voice and keep my covenant agreement, then you shall be my own special possession and a treasure from among all the peoples of the world, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, set apart for my purpose. These are the words that you shall speak to the Israelites. So Moses called for the elders of the people and told them all the words which the Lord commanded him. All the people answered together and said, We will do everything that the Lord has spoken. And Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will come to you in a thick cloud, so that the people may hear when I speak to you with you, and may believe and trust in you forever. Then Moses repeated the words of the people to the Lord. The Lord also said to Moses, Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, that is, prepare them for my sacred purpose, and have them wash their clothes, and be ready by the 3rd day, because on the 3rd day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai, in the cloud, in the sight of all the people. You shall set barriers for the people all around the mountain, saying, Beware that you do not go up on the mountain or touch its border. Whoever touches the mountain must be put to death. No hand shall touch him, that is, no one shall try to save a guilty party. But the offender must be stoned or shot through with arrows, whether man or animal, that touches the mountain. He shall not live. When the ram's horn sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and sanctified them for God's sacred purpose, and they washed their clothes. He said to the people, Be prepared for the 3rd day. Do not be intimate with a woman. So it happened on the 3rd day, when it was morning, that there was thunder and flashes of lightning, and a thick cloud was on the mountain, and a very loud blast was sounded on a ram's horn, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood and presented themselves at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. Its smoke ascended like a smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked violently. And it happened, as the blast of the ram's horn grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him with a voice of thunder. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain, and the Lord called Moses to the top of the mountain, and he went up. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, Go down, warn the people, so they do not break through the barriers around the mountain to the Lord to see me, and many of them perish as a result. Also have the priests who approach the Lord consecrate, sanctify, set themselves apart for my sacred purpose, or else the Lord will break forth in judgment against them and destroy them. Moses said to the Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, because you warned us, saying, Set barriers around the mountain and consecrate it. Then the Lord said to him, Go down and come up again, you and Aaron with you, but do not let the priests and the people break through the barriers to come up to the Lord, or he will break forth in judgment against them and destroy them. So Moses went down to the people and told them again about God's warnings. Exodus 20. Then God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God who has brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself any idol or any likeness, form manifestation of what is in heaven above or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth, as an object to worship. You shall not worship them nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous and passionate God, demanding what is rightfully and uniquely mine, visiting, avenging the iniquity, sin, guilt of the fathers on the children, that is, calling the children to account for the sins of their fathers to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing graciousness and steadfast loving kindness to thousands of generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, that is, irreverently, in false affirmations, or in ways that impugn the character of God. For the Lord will not hold guiltless, nor leave unpunished those who take his name in vain, disregarding its reverence and its power. Remember the Sabbath, seventh day, to keep it holy, set apart, dedicated to God. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath, a day of rest, dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day you shall not do any work, you or your son, or your daughter, or your male servant, or your female servant, or your livestock, or your temporary resident, who stays within your city gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and everything that's in them, and he rested, ceased on the seventh day. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy, that is, set apart for his purposes. Honor, respect, obey, care for your father and your mother, so that your days may be prolonged in the land the Lord your God gives you. You shall not commit murder, unjustified, deliberate homicide. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal, secretly, openly, fraudulently, or through carelessness. You shall not testify falsely, that is, lie, withhold, or manipulate the truth against your neighbor, any person. You shall not covet, that is, selfishly desire and attempt to acquire your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Now all the people witnessed the thunder and flashes of lightning and the sound of the trumpets and the smoking mountain. As they looked, the people were afraid, and they trembled and moved backward and stood at a safe distance. Then they said to Moses, You speak to us, and we will listen, but do not let God speak to us, or we will die. Moses said to the people, Do not be afraid, for God has come in order to test you, and in order that the fear of him, that is, a profound reverence for him, will remain within you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a safe distance, but Moses approached the thick cloud where God was. Then the Lord said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the Israelites, You have seen for yourselves that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make other gods to worship besides me, gods of silver and gods of gold. You shall not make these lifeless idols for yourself. You shall make an altar of earth for me, and sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen, in every place where I cause my name to be recorded and remembered through revelation of my divine nature. I will come to you and bless you. I will make an altar of stone for me. If you make an altar of stone for me, you shall not build it of cut stones, for if you use a chisel on it, you will profane it. Nor shall you go up to my altar on steps, so that your nakedness will not be exposed on it. Psalm 18. I love you fervently and devotedly, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and the one who rescues me. My God, my rock and strength, in whom I trust and take refuge. My shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death surround me, and the streams of ungodliness and torrents of destruction terrified me. The cords of Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead, surrounded me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress, when I seemed surrounded, I called upon the Lord, and I cried to my God for help. He heard my voice from his temple, and my cry from help came before him, into his very ears. Then the earth shook and quaked, and the foundations of the mountains trembled. They were shaken because he was indignant and angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and fire from his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and thick darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub storm and flew. and he sped on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his hiding place, covering his pavilion canopy around him. The darkness of the waters, the thick clouds of the skies, out of the brightness before him passed his thick clouds, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he sent an abundance of lightning flashes and confused and routed them in defeat. Then the stream beds of the waters appeared, and the foundations of the world were laid bare. At your rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of your breath of your nostrils. He reached from on high, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy, and from those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. They confronted me in the day of my disaster, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a broad place. He rescued me because he was pleased with me and delighted in me. The Lord dealt with me according to my righteousness, moral character, spiritual integrity. According to the cleanness of my hands, he has rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his ordinances were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself free from my sin. Therefore the Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, moral character, spiritual integrity, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. With the kind, merciful, faithful, loyal, you show yourself kind. With the blameless, you show yourself blameless. With the pure, you show yourself pure. And with the crooked, you show yourself astute. For you save an afflicted and humble person, but bring down those arrogant fools with haughty eyes. For you cause my lamp to be lighted and to shine. The Lord my God illuminates my darkness. For by you I can crush a troop, and by my God I can leap over a wall. As for God, his way is blameless. The word of the Lord is tested. It is perfect. It is faultless. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. For who is God but the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? The God who encircles me with strength and makes my way blameless. He makes my feet like hinds' feet, able to stand firmly and tread safely on paths of testing and trouble. He sets me securely upon my high places. He trains my hands for war, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You have also given me your shield of the shield of your salvation, and your right hand upholds and sustains me. Your gentleness, your gracious response when I pray makes me great. You enlarge the path beneath me and make my steps secure, so that my feet will not slip. I pursue my enemies and overtook them, and I did not turn back until they were consumed. I shattered them so they were not able to rise. They fell wounded under my feet. For you have encircled me with strength for the battle. You have subdued under me those who rose up against me. You have also made my enemies turn their backs to me in defeat, and I silenced and destroyed those who hated me. They cried for help, but there was no one to save them. Even to the Lord they cried, but he did not answer them. Then I beat them fine as the dust before the wind. I emptied them out as the dirts of the street. You have rescued me from the contentions of the people. You have placed me as the head of the nations. As people whom I have not known serve me. As soon as they hear me, they respond and obey me. Foreigners feign obedience to me. Foreigners lose heart and come trembling out of their strongholds. The Lord lives, blessed be my rock. And may the God of my salvation be exalted, the God who avenges me and subdues peoples, nations under me. He rescues me from my enemies. Yes, you lift me up above those who rise up against me. You deliver me from the man of violence. Therefore will I give thanks and praise to you, O Lord, among the nations, and sing praises to your name. He gives great triumphs to his king, and shows steadfast love and mercy to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever.